Welcome back to the Shy City Boys podcast. It's your boy Carl Liza. With me, as always, is your boy Jack Thiel. Jack, how you doing today?
Doing good, doing good. We had some nice weather last week, some nice weather today, but chilling out, having a good time. Now, you don't have to go to the casinos to bet
Yeah.
anymore in the state of Illinois. I think the next thing that needs to be changed is if you're in Illinois, well, here's the rule right now. If you're in Illinois, you can't bet on Illinois schools.
Oh,
So
you can't?
no, so like you can't bet on Illinois, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
basketball or anything, or the Paul, if you're in Illinois. So I think that's the next thing that needs to be changed. But like,
Yeah.
I'm glad because I never went to casinos. I thought that was just a waste of time. So now I don't have to. I've been placing bets lately. Won a big bet last night. I got a couple rolling right now. We're feeling good. We've
Did you
got
win any of them?
yeah, I just told you I won.
Oh, what was the bet? Let me hear.
Okay, here, I'll pull it up.
As you're pulling that up, I've talked about on the show. I've gone on a hiatus of betting. So
I have the bet pulled up if I can go.
Okay, fine.
I had the Sixers, 76ers money line. Sorry to the Bulls, but I had to go with my money and not my heart. I had 76ers money lines. I had Pistons spread, which was plus 7.5. They even though they won the game, but it was plus 7.5. I have the Timberwolves spread, which was 13.5. They won by like 30. And then I had the Spurs spread before LeBron was announced that he was out, which was at 2.5, and they won by 7. And then I had Nikola Jokic double.
Oh wow!
So I won 224 and 12 cents.
How much did you bet on it?
$12.
Oh wow! That's money right there.
I know it's one. So I just won $30 right now. Actually, I had the Boston College spread in the ACC tournament, which was 2.5. They won by 20.
Oh wow!
And right now, I just placed a bet for $30 that Clemson covers their 4.5 spread in the ACC tournament. I also have one more spread in terms of March Madness, because it is March and we were talking about it last week. So I picked 4 conference winners in the conference tournaments. And if it pulls up, my one conference winner is Duke in the ACC, Arizona in the Pac-12, Providence in the Big East, and Kentucky in the SEC. I put down $10 and that would win me over $500. So in likeness of March Madness, I have that bet going. So we're gonna calm things down a little bit. I know I'm not gonna win every bet, but if I lose the Clemson bet, we're gonna take a rest. But if we win the Clemson bet, we gotta keep going. I do have a lock bet, and it might be too late for people because the bet is tonight. So before we get into our spiel, there is the WCC conference tournament tonight against St. Mary's and Gonzaga. Now look, I know Gonzaga is the number 1 team, but St. Mary's is the number 17th team in the country, and they are a 12.5 underdog. And St. Mary's already beat Gonzaga, which was a couple games ago, by 10. I think 12.5 is very disrespectful, and I am riding that 12.5 like a pony on a fucking farm. I'm riding that 12.5 St. Mary's. I think that's disrespectful. I think those types of spreads are too high in March. I hate when except if it's like a 1 versus 16. I think it's too high. I think and these are 2 ranked teams. Like I said, St. Mary's is ranked. So I just think that's way too high. So that's my betting spiel. You asked me how my weekend was going, and it's going good so far. But I had to let the people know of the lock of the century, St. Mary's plus 12.5. I've never felt more confident in a bet than that.
Well, unfortunately, I just broke my hiatus.
What you bet on?
I just took your bet, the 12.5.
See how much you put on?
I put $5.
Okay. I also have another bet of the century.
That's the only one I'm doing.
tonight I don't know why tonight there are a lot of bad like lines or good lines. So this morning, I made this bet this morning. Brooklyn was only 3-point favorites against the Hornets with KD and Kyrie playing. I think that's disrespectful. But KD and Kyrie, and you got to remember, the Hornets are the worst defensive team in the NBA, pretty much. And you have KD and Kyrie, and what's the other guy? Seth Curry, he can shoot a little bit. And at the morning, it was only 3. So I bet in the morning, but it might be different now. But I thought that was another lock of the century. So, but the St. Mary's one I'm riding high on. I'm big on St. Mary's. I have that one straight up and in a parlay.
If I lose that St. Mary's bet, I'm calling you out on my TikTok.
That's cool, but if you win, I get half of your winnings.
No, that's not true. You want half of $9?
Don't disrespect the Gales. The Gales are doing a good job this year, and they play. It's 8 o'clock. I think it's like 8 o'clock. The game's in Vegas. It's a little later. I'm just saying. I feel so good about that bet. But
okay, let's stop talking about bets. Let's get on to our first project of the day.
We do, yeah. I guess if you haven't followed our recent episodes earlier in our podcast history, we mentioned how Carl had a gambling addiction, and now we are kind of stirring the pot once again. So
let's stop talking about it. Let's get on. Let's talk about how the Bulls are really fucking shit in the bed right now.
Oh wow, okay.
5-game losing streak against Memphis, Miami, Atlanta, Milwaukee, and the Philadelphia 76ers. They haven't been blown out. They haven't been blowouts, but they haven't been really that close. But Jack, what's going on?
Well, they don't know what a defense is. They just can't play defense right now. And I'm not saying when Ball and Caruso come back, Giannis and Embiid won't put up 30 points on us, because they will. But I think one takeaways was the Bucks game, because I was out at the bars watching that game. Great game, by the way. And I was watching the game, and at the end of the game, it was neck and neck. And I would see at multiple occasions, Io guarding Chris Middleton, Io guarding Drew Holiday. And look, Io is a good point guard. He's not great. He's a rookie. But Drew Holiday scored like the last 8 points on like a run, and that really killed us. And it's like, if you have Ball and Caruso, you're forcing Giannis to make these plays. And I don't think Giannis would have made that run he would have. Now, I'm not surprised we lost the Hawks game. We just have no defense at guard. And, for Io, I know he did clamp Trae Young twice, but, Trae Young is one of the best players in the NBA. Like, he's going to figure this out if it's not working out. He's going to know, okay, and he's a rookie, Io. Don't forget. I mean, Trae Young's been in the league for a couple of years now, so he kind of knows like a little bit of the in and outs. And then I think the same thing goes with that Grizzlies game. There's just no one to guard Ja. I mean, I'm not saying Ball and Cruz are gonna like lock these guys down, 10 points only, but you can tell how much help defense is being needed without these guys. With Ball and Caruso, they don't really need help defense. They can pretty much cover their own grounds. But we see the biggest problem with the Bulls, and this is easily their biggest kryptonite, is the pick and roll. They cannot defend the pick and roll if their life depended on it. I mean, against the Grizzlies, we'll go with that first game. Bunch of Ja Morant and Steven Adams plays. Steven Adams had a double-double in the first quarter. He had like 10 points and 11, 12 rebounds, and Ja Morant had like 40 points almost. We'll go to the Hawks game. Trae Young and Clint Capella, pick and roll. And if anything, Trae Young doesn't even let Clint Capella roll. He just uses the screen basically. In terms of the Bucks game, it wasn't really much of that. I'd say it was more of like just screens and setting. And then I think last night with the 76ers, we saw that a lot with James Harden and Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. One interesting things I noticed was the 76ers have one offensive style. So what they do is they'll put 3 guys on one side of the court, and then they'll have the ball handler and Joel Embiid on the other side to play that pick and roll offense. So Embiid sets the screen, and Maxey or Harden, A, can either drive in, B, dish it to Embiid, and Embiid is the best offensive center in the NBA right now. No one is stopping him. So although Caruso and Ball make this team a lot better, I'm not saying they don't, but there are bigger issues at hand than them not calling, and that's the pick and roll defense. That it's atrocious right now. I think that it's just something you need to work on, and it's not like it's Vooks or Tristan Thompson's fault, but it's just a team thing. You gotta be able to rotate, help defense, but not too much help, not leaving guys open, and that's the problem they have, and it's just getting worrisome at this point because it seems like the Bulls are destined, in my opinion, they're destined for the 4 or 5 spot, which means they'll probably play like the Celtics. And the Celtics are one of the best teams in the NBA right now. They are on fire. They have been playing well on all cylinders. And you don't want the Bulls to slip and slip more because I believe they're like 3 games ahead of the Raptors or some team, and that would be the play.
They're 5 games ahead of Toronto right now.
So that, and Toronto's in the play-in tournament right now, right?
Toronto's in 7.
That's something you worry because I mean you never know what can happen with this play-in tournament.
Yeah.
For the Bulls, if they were not to make, like if they were just to make the playoffs, you have 7 games or best of 7. You make the play-in. I mean, I know the 7 seed in the play-in game, they get 2 chances, but still, like, are you really going to bank it off that? And then, okay, let's say you win. You got to play a number 1 or number 2 team, probably.
Yeah.
For the Bulls, they made it hard on themselves, and that's just the case. And now, in my opinion, they're going to play either the Cavs, the Celtics.
Right now,
Celtics.
The 4th seed, they're slated to play the Celtics.
Yeah, I in my opinion, I really think those 2 teams will flip flop seeds, and that's how it's going to end. But if this
so you think the Bulls are going to be 5 and Celtics are going to be 4?
Yeah, I mean the Celtics are playing a lot better than the Bulls are right now. And the Bulls still have to play like the Bucks twice, the Heat again, the Celtics again, the Raptors. I mean they don't have an easy, and then the Jazz and the Suns on the road. So
I think we have the hardest schedule left in the NBA.
Yeah, so I can see them flip flopping, but I could really, in my opinion, see them slipping to the 6th seed and having to play the Bucks or 76ers in a 7-game series. The point.
That would be awful.
I think the point is that we have to realize is that no matter what seed the Bulls are, they're going to have to play good teams, and they have to figure it out. I don't care what their record is right now against these teams. I know it's really bad, but as long as they figure it out for the playoffs, because I get it, the regular season does matter. It matters your positioning in the playoffs, but I don't give 2 craps what happens until the playoffs. So as long as you're figuring it out and just practicing those things that you're struggling with, I'm okay with that. Because a healthy Bulls, I will take over the Celtics. I will take us over the Bucks. I'm not even lying. The 76ers and the Heat, I don't know. But that's the thing. Winning those series can make us a better team. But yeah, the Bulls are Bulls. And the weird thing is, it's not the Bulls and the Warriors are the Bulls coldest teams in the NBA right now. The Warriors are also on a schneid, and so are the Bulls. I mean, 2 teams that were, number 1 in their conferences are both slipping down because of injuries. And
Golden State has lost 5 in a row as well.
Yeah, so I think I'm not trying to make this all about the Warriors or not about the Bulls, but I think as we're seeing some teams kind of going through those struggles, going through those stretches, the Bulls haven't gone through something like this yet. And now we're seeing it. And I think you and I can agree on this, Carl. The Bulls have enough veteran leadership to where they can, I think just speak up in that locker and be like, guys, the hell are you guys doing? Like, I think
DeMar should be that voice, or even Vooch.
Tristan Thompson said it really good in the post-game conference last night. It was like, we're not tweaking. Like we got 3 all-stars on this team. We're fine. Like, and I think they are fine. I do. And Vooch didn't play last night. I think that's important to bring out as well. Vooch did not play against the Sixers last night. He had some lower body.
At this point in
he's okay.
This point of his career, Tristan Thompson can't start. He's more of
a. But yeah, I know. But my point is that he wasn't there. Even that's not an excuse. But my point is that it's it's not DeMar and Levine. They're not dumb. Caruso, he's not dumb. Like, these guys know how good this team is, and I think that's why you don't really sense a panic in the team.
Yeah.
I really haven't sensed a panic yet. Like, I mean, they've all just said, we're fine. We'll figure it out. You know, if there was a panic, they'd be like, yeah, we got to win. We're sucking right now. And they haven't really said that yet, which makes me confident because I think, Caruso and Ball, they have been resuming non-contact workouts as long as P will. And, they've got a month left until the playoffs start. I'm not really rushing them. I'd be fine. But my only worry would be throwing them right into a playoff series, their first contact game. That's my biggest worry. But
if they can come back with 5 or 6 games left,
not even that. Not even that
for the playoffs.
I honestly 3 would be fine by me. I would just hate to throw them right back in there. And it's the playoffs, right? Because that can cost you, in my opinion, game 1 or game 2. That could, because the fluidity, especially with P. Will, he hasn't been there for months. See, Caruso and Ball, they kind of have that connection still with DeMar and all those guys. P. Will, though, he's played 5 games with DeMar.
He played 5 games.
Hasn't played with Tristan yet. Hasn't really played with Derrick Jones,
Io.
Yeah, so I think in terms of who I would want back sooner, it is P. Will. Although Caruso and Ball make a bigger impact, like I said, I don't give 2 shits what happens in the regular season. We all know if the Bulls want to, and why do we root for the Bulls? They're our favorite team, and we don't root for them to make the playoffs and lose in the first round. We root for them to win the fucking championship. And I don't care. Like I said, it doesn't matter what we finish. We have to play these teams either way if we want to win it all. So I'd rather be at our best when we do play them and have the guys just be ready. And that's why I think P. Will would be my most important guy coming back. And then Caruso and Ball obviously after. But like I said, P. Will's been out since, he got hurt that October game against the Knicks, the 28th. I remember that. We were watching it. So, it's March, and he hasn't played since October. Some things are going to be a little rusty. So,
even once they get back,
it's going to be rusty. Yeah.
Our expectations for the year, I don't want to make an excuse for anything if we get swept to the first round. Our expectations coming into the year was just making the playoffs. So anything after making the playoffs, I see as a success. But like you said before, it's our favorite team. We want them to win the finals. But if we see them make the first round, maybe go to 7 games and then eventually lose to the Celtics or even Milwaukee, that'd be a successful season. Even though we want them to win the championship, it's the first year with this team.
I think, but I think
I don't want to make that excuse. I don't want to make that excuse saying that, but it's the facts.
I think what also is, and I'm not trying to put a lot of pressure on this playoff. There was a lot of but I think what's interesting is because LaVine is a free agent, so that's a big thing going into this offseason, obviously, because we want LaVine back. That's just, we want him back. He's our guy. But I think what's another interesting thing is, let's say the Bulls win a playoff series. I think that makes them a very attractive destination.
Oh, yeah.
But if they were to lose one, if they weren't even to win one, I can see why teams would be hesitant in going there. Because, look, I get it. DeMar is a veteran. LaVine is one of the rising players. Vuk is an all-star. But it doesn't matter unless this team can win. And I think that's why I'm not trying to put all this pressure in, if the season, this season or postseason rides on the offseason, but there are a lot of talented players available this offseason.
Oh, yeah.
And look, then some of them are game changers. I look at a guy like Bobby Portis, who could really be a game changer for I wish we still had him, but
bring him back to Chi-Town.
The Bulls' 3 biggest needs going into this offseason, no matter if they were to win the finals, they need another guy that can contribute. I'm not saying the guy that can make a difference, basically. They need a big man defender at power forward, and they need some shooting. They can shoot, but they don't shoot enough. They need when you look at the starting lineup right now, it's only LaVine that can really shoot. Io is streaky. Vuk has his games. DeMar's not a shooter. and Javonte Green can occasionally hit from the corner.
Yeah.
We don't have that. Like, if you look at some of the best teams in the NBA right now, you look at a team like the Heat, they got shooters, they got Tyler Hero, I got Duncan Robinson. I mean, Max Strus off the bench, DePaul.
Yeah.
You look at a team like the Milwaukee Bucks, they are a team that has some decent shooters. I think Pat Connaughton is a really good shooter.
Chris Middleton, all-star. Drew Holiday, all-star.
Look at the 76ers. Their shooters aren't the greatest players, but they can shoot. Georges Niang, Frank, I don't know his name, Kormaz or whatever.
Oh, Frank no.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the
something
name.
like that. But James Harden, Tyrese Maxey can shoot. I mean,
James Harden's going to be big for them in the playoffs.
You look at the Nets, Seth Curry, Patty Mills,
Kevin Durant,
Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. So I think and then you go to the other side for the Grizzlies, Desmond Bane has been huge for them, and he can add what he's known for, shooting. You look at the Suns, look at Cam Johnson. I'm not saying you have to get a 3-point shooter that's top 10 player in the league.
We got to get a consistent shooter that can knock them down when we need him.
But that's what I was going to say. If you look at the percentages, of the best NBA shooters right now this year, all of these guys are not what you think. The best shooters are guys like Keldon Johnson, Desmond Bane.
Role players.
Cam Johnson. Look at Cam Johnson the other night. He put up 40-some points, and he had 21 points in the fourth quarter. That's what you need if you're the Bulls. We don't have anyone like, I guess, Kobe White. But Kobe White isn't there yet. We need an established role player. And Kobe is still trying to figure out his game. So
we need someone that can put up 45 a night on the occasion.
I don't know about that.
We don't have
about 45. And
you know what I mean, though.
I think what I would want to see is a guy who can average 2 threes a game and occasionally have those games where he hits 6, 7 threes. Something like that. We don't need scorers on this team, but we need shooting. We don't need guys we don't need another 20-point scorer. We need a guy that
should be Kobe White, but he's just not doing it.
He's not a starter, so that kind of distills his points per game. But I mean, he's efficient. And Kobe White's an efficient player. I think that's something he doesn't get enough credit for. I think he had 20 last night, anyways. I think Kobe White, I think he's 9th on the 3-point makes for the Bulls right now. I think I heard something about it. I know he's behind Steve Kerr right now. I'm fine with Kobe White. I think the thing about Kobe White is he just comes off the bench. Yeah, Steve Kerr. He's like 8th, Steve Kerr.
Oh, okay.
So I just think we just need more established players. And that's hard for the Bulls because I don't think they were expecting this all to happen so fast. Yeah. I think that, they may be expected, like you said, Carl, this year they can possibly be that playoff team. They can possibly be that play-in team. Yeah. Next year, they can be that, win 1 series, maybe 2 series, and in 3 years, they can make a run for it. And I think things kind of fast forwarded and, that's the thing. And obviously that's why I think they haven't traded P. Will or Kobe, just because they're ahead of the plan. And they don't want to make any judgments or changes until they're in that specific part of that plan. So
absolutely.
I just think that's my biggest need is a big man defender that can, alongside Vuk, a power forward guy, a veteran presence, but also a role player, a 3-point shooter. And I think that's it. And I think, I think that power forward, like I said, can be a guy who can really make a difference. I look at guys like, and I know they're considered centers, but Montrezl Harrell, I think, can be one. I think why not put him at power forward? He's 6'9".
Yeah.
I mean, Vooch already extends or expands the floor as it is. So I look at him. I look at Miles Bridges as another guy. Like I said, Bobby Portis.
I think Bridges is going to want too much money.
But we got to give it to him if he wants it. That he'd be, in my opinion, he's a perfect fit, Miles Bridges. He's a guy who has great athleticism, great reach, can play defense, can also contribute on the offensive side. I don't know. I think
have him coming off the bench.
No, starting a power forward. He will. That's the thing. I would, if I were the Bulls, and I love P. Will, I would, if I can get a better power forward, I would take that power forward over P. Will.
Who's the
just until P. Will develops.
What's the power forward that we could trade for that's better than P. Will right now?
Oh, geez.
That's,
I
that's
mean,
on the trade
it
block.
could have been some bonus, but we didn't go for
Yeah,
that.
he's not.
But you know, I'm thinking of guy. I'm trying to think because trying to think of like obviously like salary cap and everything. That's a very
Yeah.
important thing. You know, it's hard because there's not many power forwards. There's a lot of guys who qualify as power forwards, but they're centers. You know, like it's like weird. I think Julius Randle could be an interesting one. It seems like he wants out of New York. You trade Pewell and a couple picks for him, I think. My worry is that he's not the greatest defender. He's an all right defender. You know, I look at a guy now. This is a sleeper pick. This is sleeper. This guy isn't great, but I was very impressed. I saw him. I don't know what game it was, but saw him play. He really was pretty good. His name is Darius Bazley from the Thunder.
I do like him.
He would be a decent role player. He's a guy with a big reach. He is a little skinny, but I mean, he's 6'8". I think if you put on some pounds, that'd be nice. But I mean, a lot of teams don't want to trade power forwards because there's not a lot of them. Because a lot of small forwards are becoming power forwards, like Jason Tatum, Kyle Kuzma. And LeBron even at times are kind of. I mean, Miles Bridges. I guess I'm just going on a tangent right now. One more guy, and we can wherever we want to go would be Keldon Johnson. He's considered a power forward, but like I don't know, but he's considered it. If he's considered,
I like Keldon Johnson. I do, but I think he's one of the pieces of San Antonio I don't want to give up.
But I just don't know what San Antonio's plan is. That's my
thing. I know. See, I heard rumors they were going to trade Murray at the deadline, and then they didn't end up happening. I don't know what Pop wants to do. I think Pop doesn't want to go out on a rebuilding team. So
I just think for the Bulls, they're obviously one of the best offensive teams when healthy. In that case, if I'm going to go for a power forward, I'm going to go someone that brings a defensive presence. And that's why I think a guy like Montrezl Harrell, he's 6'9", but that's a power forward. He's going to dominate. He's a guy who's quick too. So there's a lot of things that, I mean, I really do feel like this season can affect the persuasion if players want to come play for Chicago. I mean, it's Chicago. The city's amazing. People know that already. But is the team going to be there for them? And I think a guy like Tristan Thompson is a great advocator, a guy who is a veteran, and he kind of knows what the team has. And a lot of guys in the free agency this year are veterans. So, like I said, I'm not trying to put all this pressure like, oh, this postseason or end of the regular season, make or break the Bulls 2022 offseason. But to be an attractive site, you got to get all-star. They got 3 of them. So they're right there. But you got to show that you can win. And they haven't shown that yet this year. And that's why I think if you can win one playoff series, it shows you that this team is just one player away from really getting there.
Yeah. So before we move on, I agree with what you're saying. Let's go over their next 3 games because that's 3 games is our next episode. Mm-hmm. So tomorrow night, we are in Detroit against Detroit Pistons. I can see us winning that game. I think we kind of have to win that game just to get the ball rolling again. No pun intended. But
I'm not gonna lie. I think we could lose. I think we'll win, but like
we could definitely lose because Detroit's not a very good team, and this would be a good win for them because they want to beat the higher seeded teams, but they want to lose to the lower seeded teams.
No, I'll tell you,
so they might put up they're going to put up a good effort. And then after that, we're back at home against the Cavaliers, where I can definitely see us losing.
Well, no Jared Allen.
Oh, no Jared Allen? Okay, then I can see us
Jared Allen's out for the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, serious injury. So Evan Mobley is going to start at center, and I think Markkanen steps in as that power forward.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. That's a game where you're going to probably have to play Vuk and Tristan Thompson. Because the one thing about the Cleveland Cavaliers is they don't have guards. They have big men. So
remember when they were guard heavy?
Yeah, and now they're big, like literally, and they have Kevin Love off the bench still.
Yeah.
So even though they're missing Jared Allen, they're still a big team, and I think that's a game where we see Vooch and Tristan.
Yeah. So that's Saturday night, and then Monday night we are in Sacramento going against the Kings.
That's a hard game. I mean,
since the trade, there's been 10 games since the trade with Sabonis. They've gone 3-7.
I mean,
so
it's still a tough game because De'Aaron Fox on the other side, and we don't have I know Caruso got cleared for contact activity earlier today, but I don't think.
Do you see him coming back in a week though?
No, that's what I was saying. I don't think he is, and that's my thing. It's like De'Aaron Fox is one of the best, in my opinion. He's a top 7 point guard in the NBA. So I think that what's it called? I think we can lose that game too. I haven't seen anything from the Bulls like we saw in the past, where it was like we're gonna win that game, we're gonna win that game. Right now, I really don't know what to expect from this team. This team has really been a question mark, and until they show something, then I'll be more confident saying they're gonna win. But right now, I'm kind of on the fence, and these are all tough games in general. I get it. The Pistons are a rebuilding team, but they have one.
There is no easy game.
They got Cade Cunningham and Jeremy Grant, two great players. You go to the Cavs, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Lauri Markkanen. We know how those revenge games like to go sometimes. On the other, and then you go to the Kings and Sacramento. One thing I'll say about the Sacramento game, you just never know with those late start times.
Yeah.
So that's 9:00. The game starts at 9:00 Monday night. So
our time, so it's 7 o'clock.
Our time, Central Time, 9:00. So, Sabonis knows the Bulls very well. Harrison Barnes, De'Aaron Fox. That's a game where you don't know. Like I said, it's going to take the Bulls need to win, and it doesn't get easier because that Kings game starts that West Coast road trip.
Yeah.
After that, they got the Jazz on the road, then they got the Suns on the road. Luckily, if they have to get to play the Suns, no Devin Booker and no Chris Paul. No Chris Paul for sure. I think Devin Booker is still in COVID protocols, but when they played earlier in the year, the Bulls just got owned.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's talk about the Bears. There's a couple moves or a couple newsworthy things to talk about. One, today was the first official day to franchise tag players, and they're saying that the Bears are not franchise tagging Allen Robinson. And I personally think that's a good move. Even though he didn't have a lot of targets towards them last year, he didn't produce as we wanted him to. And he just showed that he didn't want to be there. On certain plays, he didn't want to be there. What are your thoughts?
I think I expected him, to not get not to get franchise tagged again or even signed. Yeah. I think I don't want to discredit any football player in any way, because I know it's a grind and they work their asses off, but it just didn't seem like it just seemed like he didn't want to be there. And it just, I don't know. It seemed like he checked out when that franchise tag happened last year. And, you look at potential receivers that can be available via trade or via I'm not free agent, comparing to Allen Robinson, I kind of would prefer, those guys, obviously. So not surprised. I think his time's up with the Bears. I really think he just doesn't want to be there anymore. And, it sucks, but that's kind of how sometimes things go.
Yeah. So right now we're going to go over what we think the perfect offseason would look like for the Chicago Bears. So I'm gonna say a move that I would want them to make, and then you're gonna say a move that you'd like to see them make. Okay. Okay. So first, I would like them to talk to Justin Reed from the Houston Texans. He's a free agent. He's 25, ball hawk. He can get to the ball and disrupt the passes. He's a safety. I think we'll be able to sign him at that. But I would like to see Justin Reed in the Bears uniform.
All right. I'm going to go with Amari Cooper.
That was my next one.
I think, obviously, it was said that he's going to be released by the Cowboys. Makes it a little interesting. I think that would be a great receiver one for Justin Fields to work with. I think he can really help Justin Fields' progression as a player. and it gives us that red zone presence that we need. Darnell Mooney is a great slot guy, or you can have him on the outside, but he's not a guy who's going to moss people. He's a quick guy who's going to make some people miss. Yards after catch guy, I guess, would be the best way to say it. So I would like them to go for Amari Cooper.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go to the draft, and I want them to draft at number 39. Since you have them getting Amari Cooper, I want to see them get an offensive lineman, 39. They wouldn't have to draft a wide receiver in the second round if they got Amari Cooper. So I'd like to see them get one of the better offensive linemen in the draft. This draft is loaded with offensive line talent. We just need people to project. We need guys to protect Justin Fields.
Yeah, and I think Ryan Poles was really he made I can't remember the comment he made, but he made a comment about the offensive line going.
You want some big or fast and athletic.
And I think we had this conversation or a couple episodes ago about the draft kind of, and I'm still going with a secondary in that second round. I think it's just so vital, just because Jalen Johnson's good. It's not him. it's the supporting cast around him that's really brutal, I guess would be the best word. I mean, it is brutal. I mean, we talked about a guy like Chris Olave. If he was still there, maybe you go for him.
Yeah.
One guy that I've kind of read about this, because I was kind of reading about this. I had some downtime. I'm in the bathroom the other day and I was reading some just like draft like things, and there was a cornerback, Roger McCreary out of Auburn. And do you know who he is? Let me ask you, do you even know who he is?
No.
See, he's a guy who is short. He's not the tallest guy, but I mean, I feel like A, that could be good for a slot. B, he's very fast and he's very physical and he's very athletic, and I like that in players. And I think he could go in that first round, but I think he'd be a decent pick. I think he would be there if the Bears, weren't going to trade up. Some people probably aren't even sure who he is, but I think, in my opinion, I think he'd be a nice little prospect to give an opportunity to in the second round. I think, like I just said, I think he has a lot of talent. He's played against some of the best quarterbacks because he's from the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
He picked off Joe Burrow. He's played against Bryce Young. So I just think, Roger McCreary, I think if he's available, I also like the other guy. I think is Kobe Bryant from Cincinnati. I thought he was a decent little prospect as well.
Oh, I've heard about him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, McCreary was a guy who posted a 4.5 in his 40-yard dash. I don't know. I like it. He had 2 picks last year, 14 pass deflections, which ties 4th in the country. I think I like him. And he had a pick 6, I guess I should say, as well. So he'd be a nice guy to get if he's available in that second round. And because I'm assuming they sign Amari Cooper or they go for Amari Cooper. Yeah. So obviously I'm not going to go for a receiver. I'm going to go for what their second need is, in my opinion.
My next one is going to be a trade.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Jack, what do we have in abundance of on our team?
Running backs.
Yeah, boom, bingo. And what team in the AFC needs a running back?
A lot of teams. I mean,
who's the one that made the playoffs? Didn't really run the ball.
I don't know.
Second seed. Okay, Buffalo.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a trade with the Buffalo Bills.
You don't think they like Devin Singletary?
No, not much, because they didn't really run it with him. But the guy I want to propose, guy hasn't played. He didn't play last year. Didn't really play the year before. Tyree Cohen going to Buffalo Bills for a 3rd and a 6th round draft pick.
I'll do you one better. I'll trade
Okay.
David Montgomery for a second
Ooh.
round and 6th-round pick.
Oh wow.
I don't think we need Montgomery. We have Khalil.
We have Khalil Herbert. Yeah.
Exactly. I would rather have, in terms of money and what we can get in terms of like a package. I would
You
rather
know
trade.
what?
I would rather trade Montgomery.
I actually do like that. I do like that.
And he's a
Okay.
ground and pound running back. He can catch the ball occasionally. So
Okay. That's a better trade than what I thought. Okay.
Tariq Cohen isn't, like a running back. He's a running back, but he's not like a,
He's a
ground and
utility
pound.
guy.
So if you trade Montgomery, a guy he's a promising player. I'm not saying that, but when you give these running backs a lot of money, they tend to fall. So I like Herbert.
Montgomery's going into year 4. He's gonna want that a contract
So
extension.
you save somewhat of cap space, and with that second round pick, you can get that extra offensive lineman maybe, or that secondary, or that receiver that you wanted. So I'm not saying I disagree with you, because Tariq Cohen in general, he does eat up a lot of money for his contract. You got to remember that. And I would be fine with trading him too, honestly. But I just think in terms of a better package, I'd rather get rid of Montgomery. But I get what you're saying with Cohen. I think that might happen sooner than later because of the money.
I could even see if we're gonna do the Montgomery trade, I could see Cohen getting traded to like Houston for a salary dump.
I think if they want to really dump Cohen like that, this is going to be a shock. And I don't know why. I just think they would really, I think they would like this deal, because I think Alexander Madison might be leaving soon, right? He's probably going to get a deal somewhere, right? Alexander Madison. Yeah. Vikings could always use a receiving back. I mean, I know Dalvin Cook's there. I think another interesting team for Tariq Cohen, kind of around the topic of that, would I don't know if that one would work, but I think the Eagles.
They do like Chicago running backs.
Well, he also fits with that system, that like kind of option spread. Him and Jalen Hurts would run that option game, I think, fairly nicely. But I also think
you could do a lot with that.
But I also think the Eagles are more concerned about receivers. So that's kind of the tough thing. I don't know how the Bears would do that, because they really don't have many receivers to be like, oh yeah, we can give you this, unless they, signed Allen Robinson and traded him. But
how would you? Okay, how about this trade package for Cohen to Philadelphia? Cohen and a 5th-round pick for Reagor and a 7th.
I don't want Jalen Reagor.
No. Give Jalen Reagor another situation. Maybe he needed that.
No,
put him as the number 3 for this year.
No,
why not? Give him an opportunity.
No.
Former 1st-round pick.
Stop it! I don't care what pick he was. He is god awful. I do not want Jalen Reagor close to the Bears receiving core. In my opinion, I'd rather have Daz. We have Daz with DeMurray Bird. I'd rather have DeMurray Bird.
Bird's a free agent.
We don't have. I don't want Jalen Reagor. I don't want him.
I just thought that was a good idea.
I'd rather have Javon Wims than Jalen Reagor. And Javon Wims was atrocious. Gotta remember that.
Yeah.
So, no, Jalen Reagor needs to stay the hell away from the Bears.
Okay, so I'm looking at the Bears free agent list right now. Do you have anyone in mind to re-sign, or are we just letting everyone walk?
I mean, I can't really think of anyone that.
I'll give you some names, and you say yes or no. Okay.
Right.
You know what? I'll go over the whole list. We'll go over the whole list. Okay. Andy Dalton, yes or no?
Hell no.
No, I agree. Damian Williams, no.
Wait, no. Okay, I didn't think about it.
Damiere Byrd.
Yes, I would like it. I thought he was nice.
I agree.
I think you can get him for a cheap contract. He's very fast. I would like him on a cheap contract.
Okay, I already know this is a yes. Jakeem Grant, yes.
Yeah, because our return game's pretty brutal.
Exactly. Marquise Goodwin, no, he didn't really do anything for us last year.
No, that's a tough one. Okay, so I'll say this. I would I would like Goodwin or Godwin or Goodwin or Bird. One of those two, I'm fine with.
Okay, either or. Okay.
I will say Goodwin would want. I was going to want more money, but I think both are speedy receivers, and I like one of them only. But I think in terms of money, I go with Bird. But in terms of talent and veteranship, I go with Goodwin.
Okay. How about we already talked about it. Allen Robinson? No.
No, he's gone.
Okay. Jimmy Graham, my bad.
No, I think it's time for Cole Kmet to off the leash. It's his time.
How about Jesse James, backup tight end? Yeah.
No.
No.
We
Okay.
have
How about
tight end.
huh?
We have too many.
Okay. Jermaine Ifedi.
No. That guy was brutal.
Jason Peters.
No, he's too old.
No.
He's like 38.
James Daniels. I say yes.
I would say yes too. I'd say yes.
Yeah. How about Elijah Wilkinson?
I don't even remember him.
I don't know him. Aging but still effective Akeem Hicks. He's very injury prone.
I would try to do a sign and trade, if anything.
Sign and trade? Okay.
I would try that.
Mm-hmm. How about Bruce Irvin? Didn't even know he was on the team.
No, I mean I did know he was, but no, I don't really see it for him.
Alec Ogletree, I say yes.
Yeah, he had a couple nice spurts in there.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see him on the team again.
How about Artie Burns?
No, I don't want anyone other than Jalen Johnson and the cornerbacks or safeties returning, except Gibson. Gibson and Johnson are the only ones I want to see back.
Well, the next one I was going to say is Deion Bush. No. Okay, Tashawn Gibson.
Yes.
Yeah. How about DeAndre Houston Carson? I think yes.
No.
He in the little opportunities he's got, he did okay.
I do not want to see anyone.
I say sign
anyone.
I say sign him back. Let me talk. I say sign him back, put him as cornerback 3, see what he does.
I just don't want to see anyone besides Johnson or Gibson coming back. The rest can go jump ship for all I care.
How about long snapper Patrick Scales?
Absolutely. He is the bread and butter of the Chicago Bears. If you want to know what a real Bears player is like, you look at Patrick Scales. He's been here forever.
No. You know who the bread and butter of the Chicago Bears is? This next one, Pat O'Donnell. Signed him to a 7-year extension. One of the best
I would
punters in the
resign
game.
him. I mean, he is a really good punter. I mean,
Absolutely.
To his credit, I don't know how he doesn't get hurt. I don't know how many times he punts for the Bears. But
remember the POD show? The only talk show during games?
No. I would like to see Pat O'Donnell back. He's a good punter. I like him.
So that's the whole list of the free agents.
Okay, and then here's this though. Here is this.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're in the off season, I have a question to pose to you.
Okay, well, first time. Okay.
Do you trade Mac or Robert Quinn?
No,
one of them.
No,
I would trade Mac.
One more year.
Honestly, I would rather trade Robert Quinn right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade any of them.
There's no way he's going to repeat what he did this year.
Hey, you never know. You got to wait and see.
No, I would trade one of them. I would. You can get at least a third round. I mean, for Mac, you should get a second round. But for Quinn, you can get like a third or second round pick. And in my opinion, I want to trade when the pot is hot, not when it's cold. It's like this, Carl. Would you rather eat dinner, like straight out of the oven, it's hot, it's bubbly, it's warm, it's smooth, it's juicy, or would you rather eat your dinner out of the fridge, it's cold, you have to heat it up and then wait.
This is bad.
Heat it up. Exactly.
So this is bad.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like that's what's going to happen if we keep Robert Quinn one more year, is that it's going to be a leftover meal. And instead, we can trade him while he's an oven hot meal right now.
This is a bad take by you.
No, it is not.
Okay, so that's an off season for us. Let's move on to the next big subject. Aaron Rodgers staying with Green Bay.
Yeah.
The initial numbers were 4 years, $200 million with 153 guaranteed. But Aaron Rodgers tweeted out saying those are not the numbers for the details.
I mean,
So
regardless, he's in Green Bay. So
regardless, he's back in Green Bay. So that's his news, and he got the spotlight that like he wanted for an hour, and then this happened. Russell Wilson traded to the Denver Broncos for Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby something, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th-round pick. Jack, what do you think of it?
well, I think the Broncos won that trade. I'll start with that. I think on paper, their offense is kind of scary. Sutton, Jerry Judy, Tim Patrick, Javonte Williams. For the Seahawks, the question begs, I beg to ask the question to you, Carl, because I'm kind of wondering this too. Are we now going to see a rebuild in Seattle, or does Pete Carroll think they can compete with Drew Lock at quarterback? Because if you're rebuilding, you're going to be trading guys like Bobby Wagner, Griffin, who's another guy, the Metcalf and Lockett. And, obviously the Bears podcast, those are opportunities for the Bears to improve. So with that trade, is it just being like, okay, Russ didn't want to be in this situation, we had to make a trade, and that's the case? Or is this also Russ didn't want to be in a trade? We've had our success. Do we want to maybe make this a rebuild now? That's kind of where I'm, torn with this trade.
So I personally think it was maybe an even trade, or even Seattle won it 55-45. I did talk about it on my TikTok. If you want to go check that out, Liza Detector on TikTok. But I think Seattle is going to give it some time. Pete Carroll, he's still there. He doesn't want to go through a rebuild. I think he even said he doesn't want to go through a rebuild.
So this could be a case. So you're thinking this could be a case like they're going to play till the trade deadline. If they have a winning record, they're going to keep them. But if they don't, they could probably ship or they're going to sell at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I think they're going to try their best, see what they can do with Drew Lock. Have to put in Geno Smith if they need to, because I don't think Drew Lock's the guy.
No, I don't. But that's why I was kind of curious. That's why I kind of think that's why I think it's more of a rebuild, because he's not the guy. And my honesty, I thought the deal wasn't going to include a quarterback. I thought they were going to go sign a quarterback, but they might still. But I thought with that trade, I was surprised to also see Noah Fant in it.
Yeah, I was too.
I don't know. I was just kind of shocked that he'd be. It's just not like he's bad. It's just like, I don't know. I just couldn't, like, if you were to draw up a trade for the Broncos and Seahawks for Russell Wilson, I would have never imagined to put what's it called? Noah Fant in there. I just never would have thought that.
Yeah. I can see this definitely being Pete Carroll's last year in Seattle if they don't end out coming out with a winning record. But that NFC West division, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, hey, and for the Broncos, I mean, they're probably going to sign more people. Yeah. I mean, you got to remember, the Broncos got a great defense. Mm-hmm. They have Patrick Surtain, one of the best corners one of the best young corners. Bryce Callahan, Kyle Fuller is on the Broncos too, right? I know he had Kyle Fuller. Isn't he on the Broncos now too?
Yeah, he is.
I know he had a rough year, but that's a nice core. They have Justin Simmons at safety. They have Chubb. Just don't forget
Bradley Chubb. Yep. And you hear Von Miller might come back.
I don't know about that, but you have a decent defense. I don't think the offensive line is great, so they'll probably focus on that. But like I was saying, this is a really good offense. Jerry Judy, Courtland Sutton, Tim Patrick, and Javonte Williams. I mean, in my opinion, this is a better offense than what he had in Seattle. I know that sounds crazy, but if you think of overall, I would rather have this Broncos supporting cast than Seattle overall. DK and Tyler Lockett are better than those receivers, but I think Javonte Williams is really going to open up a different perspective for Russell Wilson. He's never had a really like a receiving back like that before. So, and I think
Yeah,
he's really
you can't
benefited
say
off-
Marshawn was.
no, Marshawn was not a receiving back. So I think for Russ, he has to prove it first. He hasn't even proved it yet.
Yeah.
Which would be really awkward if he just denied it. But like, if he approves it, I think he will.
Yeah.
If he approves
Okay.
it, yeah.
Right before we move on, I just wanted to give a shout out to Jack Doyle. He announced retirement yesterday. Tied in for the Colts. Just wanted to shout that out.
I also want to say this before we move on to our next subject. How disrespectful of Aaron Rodgers to announce he's going back to Green Bay on International Women's Day.
Awful piece of garbage.
Just because he's divorced, or not divorced, because their engagement ended. He announced that he was coming back on International Women's Day, the biggest day in football offseason to date. Had to happen where we celebrate a woman. I just think it's disrespectful. Why
Yeah.
couldn't this
Shout
happen
out women.
yesterday? Why couldn't this happen tomorrow? It was
Yeah.
Monday yesterday. They could have announced this yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm sickened. I am sickened.
Aaron Rodgers, selfish human being, doesn't deserve to be in the league. Shout out women. But let's move on to our next subject, the MLB. They announced a couple new things they're going to do in 2022, or a couple things. One, they're going to ban the shift, and we don't like that. We'll talk about it once I say everything. Implement a pitch clock, and then not this year, but next year, make the bases larger. That's what they're talking about right now. So let's go one by one. Jack, what do you think of the banning of the shift?
The banning of the shift might be more stupid than this lockout we're in right now.
Yeah.
How are you going to tell a defense or
Hey, you can't do this?
You can't put the players where that's where he hits the ball. And
yeah,
look, if you're a professionally trained hitter in the MLB, and this is kind of going at Joey Gallo because he was the one who was very outspoken about this rule because he loves the idea of banning the shift because he's like, there's like 6 people on that side. Why can't you hit it
the other way,
other side,
or even bunt it?
I mean, yeah, but like my point is, you're a professional hitter.
Yeah.
Are you gonna tell him? And look, at pitching, it's hard at a baseball. I'm not saying it's easy, but as a professional hitter, are you telling me you can't hit the ball to the other side? Is that what you're telling me? You can't hit that ball, or just push the bat and tap the ball.
Bunch of
to
prima
the other side. I just think it's stupid. I know some people don't like shifts because they just don't. And I honestly, I think our good buddy Brian Brackens was a guy who actually is in favor of banning the shift. I might be wrong, but we were playing MLB The Show once, and he was like, "I hate this shift. It's so stupid." So, I mean, obviously that's a video game, so obviously his opinion can change. But I think it's stupid. I think it's terrible.
Yeah.
I just don't. You're like restricting teams trying. That's a big way of being a good manager.
Yeah.
Is the way you shift your defense. I think it was like the Rays, like one of the most shifted teams in the MLB. And the Rays weren't a team with a lot of talent, but they won a lot of games because of their strategy. So
100 games, yeah.
I just think, I'm not.
It's an absolute dumbfounded thing that they're implementing. This is not the baseball we grew up on. Even our fathers grew up on. It's ridiculous. But let's move on. The pitch clock. I think it's going to be 14 seconds per pitch. Like you have to pitch it within 14 seconds with no one on, and then it goes up to 19 when someone's on base.
I'm fine with that.
That's fine. You just want to speed up the game, whatever.
I am fine with the pitch count. It makes it go faster. Yeah. But I also think it, what's the word? Like, I feel like one thing.
It's going to mess up with the pitcher's groove, I think.
Well, I think something we do with pitchers is they do those like funky pitch movements that aren't even their actual movements to throw off the hitters because they have all the time up there.
Yeah.
But I do think the game needs more movement. I really would like to see the replays to be changed.
Yeah.
And one rule I would say, you have a minute to make a decision on a replay. A minute. That would be my rule change on that. But in general, but with the pitch clock, I'm fine with that. That's something I really don't care. I'm not gonna get too upset about. I prefer it over no pitch clock, but yeah.
Oh, I wonder what's gonna happen if he like throws the first. Like, is it gonna reset after that, or
Well, yeah, I
is it
think
gonna be like basketball where you get
pitch,
half the clock left?
every pitch it resets to its normal time,
Yeah.
which I
Okay.
think is smart. And I know that rushes pitchers, and I know they don't like that, but at the end of the day, look, baseball is at a dire need of fandom right now. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying to change the game completely, but I think one of the biggest criticisms in baseball is the longevity of the
The
game.
game goes too slow. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm not saying, and that's not because guys aren't hitting home runs. I really do think it's because of how long these pitchers take. Like, we all love when it's like a 10 pitch at bat. Like, that's fun to watch. But like,
Uh-huh.
you know, when you got a pitcher who is just slow, and it really draws out your interest even if it's a team you like. It sometimes can just, unless you're at the game on TV, it's really like terrible. So I'm fine with that pitch count.
How about the larger bases? I saw pictures of it. It's gonna be like twice the size.
I don't understand, why do we need bigger bases?
I heard because it'll fix, or it'll help with injuries like collisions.
I think people do that on purpose sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. But I did also hear that, like, it's gonna help marginally, like very smallly, help with stealing, which I think is better for baseball because I love to see a good steal.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams are hesitant with stealing. But I think, I don't know. I really don't understand it. I don't care really. I don't think it's going to be like, that's going to make a team win a World Series.
Yeah.
How big the base is, but like, I don't know. I really didn't see the point of it, but like, it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's gonna wrap up things here. Carl, Liza, Jack Leal with me always. We'll talk to you next week.